Beastars. In September of 2016, it was the name given to the first issue of what would become a relatively popular manga series. A series taking place in a world that, in general concept, is not too unfamiliar to most people. A world where anthropomorphic animals live in their own human-like society. It is a concept that has been explored for hundreds of years in many stories and fairy tales. However, in this world, the roles and tense relations of carnivores and herbivores stand front and center, serving as the very basis of not just the story, but the society of the world itself. In both the anime and manga, these themes are explored quite extensively, from plot-relevant scenes like Tim's death at the hands of a carnivore, Legoshi's struggle with his thoughts about Haru, to background scenes like the segregation of herbivores and carnivores on trains, and the devourings that are reported on in the news. It makes for an interesting world that is both familiar and foreign to us. Some concepts that would be unthinkable in our reality, yet are treated as just another aspect of life in theirs, while others are lifted straight from our own world and inserted into this one. It is perhaps this, in combination with its relatable, interesting, and dynamic characters, that made it so fascinating to the people that gave the manga a chance, giving it a relatively small but loyal and dedicated fanbase. However, after the release of the anime series on Netflix, its popularity exploded, and YouTube reviewers like Saberspark brought even more attention to the series, boosting its popularity to new heights. Now, while it is nowhere near the same popularity as Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, One Piece, or Dragon Ball, it is still very popular, having grown a massive fanbase since its conception. Despite this popularity, however, only a few people know about the true origin of Beastars, about the manga that came before and laid the very foundation upon which Beastars would eventually be built. That manga is called Beast Complex. But before we start to talk about Beast Complex, it would be better to have a bit of an idea of the mind behind Beast Complex. The mind of a woman by the name of Paru Itagaki. As a young girl, Paru already had a great interest in anthropomorphic characters. She used to see them in shows, which her classmates would always be very eager to criticize for their strange settings. Paru, however, did not join in with her classmates' mockery. She thought these criticisms were shallow, merely making fun of an artistic creation. She took it upon herself to instead take something positive from these shows. Inspiration. This inspiration carried on throughout her life. She used it to draw anthropomorphic characters from a very early age, driven by the interesting world she was exposed to in many shows and films, Disney being a particularly great influence on her. She would end up creating worlds of her own, small ones to be sure, but they would be the stepping stones for what was to come. She would end up writing her first manga at around the age of 22, about a bear and a rabbit living in the same apartment who had to get along with one another despite their obvious differences. She would end up selling this manga at a festival at her arts college. It wouldn't be long after this that she would start making her moves in the manga industry. Unfortunately for her, this proved to be very challenging, facing countless rejections, which greatly affected her already low self-esteem. However, fortune would eventually turn, and she finally found an editor who was very interested in her work and willing to give her a spot to publish a manga. Not wanting to waste his time or waste this great opportunity, she quickly began delivering storyboards to him. It was from these storyboards that a new world would be created. This new world came into being as a manga under the title of Beast Complex. Despite Beastars having grown quite a bit in popularity over the past few years, only a small portion of the fanbase has actually heard of Beast Complex. The first chapter came out on March of 2016 and was published by Akita Shoten in their weekly magazine, Weekly Shonen Champion. Back then, the chapters were all separated over multiple issues of the magazine series. This luckily changed in February of 2018, when a full collection of the first 6 chapters were all brought together into a single collection, giving fans of both Beastars and Beast Complex an easy way to access these stories. While the later chapters of Beast Complex 1 were published after Beastars, the first stories all came out well before. It laid the foundation for the very world Beastars would be built on, like the relation between herbivores and carnivores, but also the various other aspects of society. The first Beast Complex collection is not like Beastars, where we follow a single long story with established characters and plots. Instead, it features multiple small stories, each following a different set of characters in a different part of the city with different roles in society and even life itself. From a star student lion and a runaway bat, to a crocodile and gazelle cooking duo, to even the childhood of one of the adult characters from Beastars and their time at school. These plots are a lot less deep, but nevertheless still very fascinating. Especially to a Beastars fan, because it gives more insight into the world around Beastars, and the parts of the city that Legoshi and Louie either never get to see or barely explore. Aside from Beast Complex 1, there are also Beast Complex 2 and 3. These volumes came out well after Beastars became a series. As such, it includes not only references to characters and places featured in Beastars, but we even have stories centered around small side characters who made short appearances in the series. Despite this, however, these two issues do not focus themselves on the now main series of this universe. Aside from the occasional reference or side character story, most of the stories are still self-contained, not influenced by or influencing the main plot. And such, the series continues to do what it set out to do in the first place: flesh out this world and its inhabitants. And now, for my own thoughts. I love Beast Complex. From the first issue, which is available to buy for my fellow non-Japanese readers, to the second and third, which, so far, only have fan translations. There is something special and fun to seeing a completely different perspective on the world. To see how it grew from small, one-off stories in a brand new setting, to the great, living, breathing world filled with characters, ideas and history that it is today. It is very likely that without the original small stories, drawings and sketches by Paru, we wouldn't have Beastars. We wouldn't have Legoshi, Louie, the Shishigumi, Bill, Juno, Haru or any of the other beloved characters. Which is another reason why I love Beast Complex. While it may not contain a long-running story, established characters or anything like that, the stories it does tell are fun to read. The short length of each story also makes it easy to digest, comfortable to read and good for some light on the road or before bed reading. On rereads you might pick up on small Easter eggs, like Legoshi's first appearance in the first story as a background character, or the 701 boys watching a cooking show. It makes not only rereading the stories fun, but it also breathes more life into this world, making it feel more connected and alive. The latest stories are also great. With Beastars and the first Beast Complex having established and detailed the world, they had a lot more to work with, making the latest stories feel much more dynamic. The extra detail on background characters is also fantastic, letting you know how some events ended and how other characters live their lives when Legoshi and Louie aren't there. Again, it adds so much to making this world feel alive. This may sound repetitive, but it is truly what makes Beast Complex so fun to read. In the end, the message I want to send with this video is to give Beast Complex a try. Not only is it a fun read, but it will enhance your experience with the Beastars world. If you are already a Beastars fan and you've never heard of Beast Complex, then I especially recommend it. I have avoided spoiling as much as I could on purpose. That is because I want you to find out what happens in these stories, what characters are featured and what arcs are concluded, not only for the obvious reason, which is that it is much more fun to read something without everything being spoiled, but also because Beast Complex deserves more attention than it currently has. All issues of Beast Complex are amazing to read. If you have no experience at all with Beastars, then I recommend reading Beast Complex 2 and 3 after having read Beastars in its entirety. Beast Complex 1, however, can be read either before or after reading the Beastars manga or watching the anime. I hope that anyone who sees this and hasn't heard of Beast Complex until now will, as I said before, give it a try. If even one person finds out about Beast Complex through this video, I will be very happy. And that's it for this video on Beast Complex. I hope you all enjoyed it. This is my first true video, and as such, it might not be the most sophisticated. However, I still hope you all enjoyed it, and I greatly thank anyone who took the time to not only click on this video, but to watch it through till the end. Thanks for watching.